Hello, everybody. Hello again, and welcome back to my channel. And hello to all Ducks fans who are watching this right now, and those who have come across my video. Happy New Year, everybody. 2022, let's be very honest, it wasn't what you call a good year. It wasn't a bad year. It was just one of those seasons where basically I'm not going to mince words or just going to try to downplay the issues involving our team. It was basically a mess. It was a mess that we haven't seen in a long while. Seeing the Ducks struggling, the lack of scoring, as I've said in previous videos and express it on the Ducks social media and, of course, the Ducks message board. It's frustrating, annoying, and I'll be honest with most of you, it's very disgraceful seeing where our team is right now. Bottom of the Pacific Division, as you know. Bottom of the Western Conference, as we know right now. Third worst team in the NHL league overall right now. Or probably second, who knows. Either way, it's been a rough year or a rough few months for the 22-23 season, and it's been very, very difficult seeing this team falter and fall and not able to get wins in regulation, having to settle for basically wins in overtime, wins in shootout. It's really those moments that you're wondering why. I'm wondering why. Because the past 3 months, it's almost felt like one big evaluation by the Ducks front office, seeing how this team is working out, how they're trying to fix the problems within the rank and file, within the strategies by the coach. The stats don't lie. What I mean by stats is 10, 23 and 4, 24 points. It's not something to look at with fondness or look at as a measuring stick. Before this season even started, and I'll be very honest with most of you, I was expecting that our Anaheim Ducks, with the youth and enthusiasm and with the players like Trevor Zegras, Troy Terry, Jamie Drysdale, Isaac Lundstrom, and many more, would hit the ground running. Sadly, disappointingly, I won't say disappointingly, it's more of disgraceful, in my own personal opinion. They have fallen short of expectations. Instead of hitting the ground running, they just hit the ground and not run. It's sometimes, it's not only hard to watch, but seeing our team struggle, it's basically leaves us with many questions. And with the Ducks record at 10, 23 and 4, 24 points with 37 games played right now, with 45 games left in the season, more questions remain. More questions want us to have a lot of answers. And I know the road ahead for our Anaheim Ducks is going to be one of turbulence, one of frustration, one of unpredictableness, and one of basically accepting defeat before the puck drop. They're hard to watch. I know that. It's hard to see this team with so much talent mixed in with veteran experience to be in this situation. But then again, we must remember and we must know in our hearts that this is a rebuilding team. The learning curve that this roster is experiencing, plus the rebuilding mode, gives us this team right now, gives us this roster. Should many of us give up? Personally, in my own opinion, no. But I really do believe that with 3 months to go and the NHL trade deadline within 2 months, Ducks GM Pat Verbeek has a lot of work ahead of him in his first full season as the Ducks GM. Speaking of the trade deadline, speaking of who our Anaheim Ducks will be shipping off to get some draft picks, some NHL-ready players, mostly prospects, and who knows, maybe some depth players. It comes down to making a hockey trade to be beneficial, not just for our Anaheim Ducks right now, but for the long term. There's no point and there's no need for the Ducks to have a trade to get a player, only have that player sign elsewhere, making it a throwaway trade, making that trade seem utterly meaningless, or a free agent signing for a player for 6 months. It's going to be a tough road. It's going to be a bumpy one. But that's part of the process for the Ducks, for our team, and I know for all Ducks fans, especially those attending at the Honda Center, Ducks fans in the city of Anaheim, and all over in Orange County, California, and in Southern California. I will be first to admit, when the Ducks won at their home opener versus Seattle in overtime, I thought for a second that they would hit the ground running. I thought maybe guys like Zegras and Drysdale and Troy Terry and Gibson and Lundstrom and Jones maybe just continue with what they experienced in the previous season ahead. But then again, with injuries and with inconsistencies and questions with the coaching staff, I cannot blame them. I cannot blame others for feeling the way they feel right now. It is basically part of the process. A tough one for all of us, from the Anaheim Ducks, the Ducks fans, the players, to the on-ice staff, the off-ice staff, who name it. Who expected this team with the youth and experience and the talent and the youthful energy to go through 3 months of this mess that we are seeing? 3 months of literally just not able to score, not having the lack of scoring that we were hoping for. Guys like Trevor Zegras. I admire the young man's talent. He is young. He is got his whole career ahead of him. But for him to build upon the success and the magic and the creativity that he has shown previous season, he has to do more. That being more than just being consistent. He has to be allowed to play his game. He is an offensive player. Dallas Eakins cannot basically hold him back and calm him down, okay? Part of his game is to be offensive scoring. Passing, yes. Setting up guys like Terry and Rico, and Rico is basically the nickname for Henrik, if many of you non-Ducks fans know. But it comes down to basically just having that young man play. He's fun to watch. I'm sure all Ducks fans have the feeling too. And also, if the Ducks are to make a trade, if they are to succeed in making a trade that would not only light the spark, but re-energize and rejuvenate this team, it has to get a player, a winger that could benefit Terry, maybe others as well. As for Dallas Eakins, we know he's not going anywhere unless Ducks GM Pat Verbeek has a change of heart. I have a gut feeling, basically, personally, that he is going to see this season through and part ways with Eakins at the end of the season. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I can tell you this, as much frustration, as much anger, and as much as we agree to disagree on what is the best course of path for our Anaheim Ducks, trades and coaching change, as much as we talk about, it's going to, I hate to sound cliche and a broken record, basically have to wait and see. The coaching change can only happen if our Anaheim Ducks have a plan in place. Letting go Dallas Eakins at the midway through the season without a plan and having named an interim coach who will probably be an assistant coach would not do wonders for our Anaheim Ducks. They will have to have a plan, a strategy in place to have a coach be waiting in the wings in case if Beaker, our Ducks GM, decides to pull the plug. That will be one of it. That will be important. As for the trades, as I speak before, the Ducks need to trade for a defenseman. It's important they do. I mean, look at the shots that Gibson and Stellares and Dolsto has been facing. 40-plus shots for the past 3.5 months. Oh, man. Sometimes I feel sorry for those 3 goalies. I feel sorry for John Gibson and Stoli and Lucas. Sometimes I really feel and understand Jiggy's frustration during his tenure with the Anaheim Ducks. But then he was a major contributor to the Ducks' cause 20 years ago. The need for defense is the need to support the goalie. Gibson is human. Stoli is human. Dolsto is human. If the Ducks don't have defense and all offense, then you might as well have to call up 2 more goalies because you will have to be running John Gibson to the ground. How do I know this, or how do we know this? You just have to look at the games. You have to just look at how every time they score, every time they have to sit back and wait, because they do, wait for things to happen, which is very frustrating. They rely too heavily on their goalie, too heavily on whether it be Gibson, whether it be Stoli, whether it be Dolsto. And it's not just this season or the previous season. You look at guys like Ducks legendary goalie, Jean-Sébastien Giguère. All the way up to Guy Hebert, they rely so heavily on their goalies. It's a bad habit. What's also a bad habit is the fact that they haven't decided to shoot more or score first to set the tone. Because if the Ducks are to go through this road, which will be turbulent and bumpy and unpredictable, they would have to make sure that all players have to contribute. Every single one. Because Z-Man, Trevor Zegras, Troy Terry, John Gibson himself, they can't do this alone. They're human beings. 3 guys 3 guys. As much as the local media praises its work ethic of Gibson and Terry, you got to get contributions from like Mason McTavish, Rico, Silverberg, all the way down to Sam Carrick or Urho Vetalainen. Because the team needs to come first. And it needs to come first in order for our Anaheim Ducks to turn things around and finish this season strong. We know this team is not ready to take the next step. They're going through the growing pains, the learning curve, as I said before. They're going through a trial and error series of games over October and November and December, and probably the season previous to this. Working it all out, I can understand the point of having Ducks GM Pat Verbeek observing and watching and waiting. But as patient as he is, our patience is a little limited. Because the trades, as I mentioned, needs to happen. It needs to happen by Verbeek to make it ensuring that the roster shakeup, to be allowing the chemistry not to be disrupted, but to be bolstered through injecting a new player, maybe one, maybe two, one on forward, one on defense, to get something going. And with that, it's important to look at the players, trade candidates who can basically be shipped off, traded for values, whether it be draft picks or NHL-ready players or depth players that can help with the transition and the learning curve of this young roster of our team. 5 players I've listed down. And if you're watching this, you might want to take a listen. You want to take a listen to the names that I'm going to give it to you right now. You might disagree. These 5 players are John Klingberg, Dmitry Kulikov, Maxime Comtois, Anthony Stellaris, and Isaac Lundstrom. 5 players. Also honorable mentions, Adam Henrique. No, I'm not trying to throw in the towel. I'm the kind of person that would like to see this season through. You can call me an old school traditionalist. But I do personally feel that for the Ducks to succeed through this short-term pain, it has to make trades to get something going, to get something to push this team forward through whatever adversity they're facing, allowing them to persevere through this. It's important and it's vital for them to do this. All of us, all Ducks fans, including myself, are wondering what is the next move by Ducks GM Pat Verbeek. I'm wondering too. The trade rumors involving the Ducks and the Greasers, with Beaker visiting Edmonton, scouting some of the games involving the Edmonton Oilers, and talks between the Ducks and Boston, and who knows, maybe trades rumors are going to pick up as each day, each week, each month counts down to March 3rd of the NHL trade deadline. It has many of us wondering, many of us hoping, I'm hoping, that he does something that can bring back the excitement, bring back the new energy that makes our Ducks fun to watch, makes our Ducks be more consistent. And we know that first it is to start by changing the coach. And we know it is not going to happen. But getting guys through the trades, through the NHL trade market, or maybe days prior, can turn this team around. If not, who knows where the Ducks are going to finish. As I said again, the road is going to be tough. It's going to be turbulent. As for the Ducks' future, 3 of our guys is doing very well at the World Juniors, held in Halifax and Moncton. Nathan Gauthier has 3 points. Olin Zellweger, 5 points. Tyson Hines, 2 points. The future is looking bright, and I can't wait to see those 3 in a Ducks uniform. It's going to be a rough few days, weeks, months. Maybe we won't know what this team is going to look like. I think when it comes down to it's going to have our guys persevere, maybe come together and focus on what they can do to improve and correct their mistakes, what they can do to win games, finish strong, not go into overtime and shootouts. Because the need is to win in regulation more than just overtime and shootouts. I got no problem with the Ducks winning in overtimes and shootouts. But when it comes to literally trying to finish against a rival and an enemy and have them tie or have the Ducks tie it, I would have serious concerns about how the strategy of our team to win games goes through. I guess it's one of those moments for any sports fans, Ducks hockey fans, or anyone to experience a rebuilding. I mean, the difference between our Ducks rebuilding and now and years and decades prior is the Ducks during the 1990s. During the first 5 years, they had to fight and claw and push their way to the top. Not to rebuild for who they are, but to rebuild for respect, to prove that they belong here, belong in the NHL, in the hockey world, despite the fact that they had a funny name and they were the butt of jokes. But now, this is different. This rebuilding is different. We expected more. And we will expect more. Hopefully we can. It just has to be that we want consistency. It's better to see it that way. But it can't be that way. Fans come to see the Ducks, to see them win or lose, and to come away feeling that this team represents them. Winning breeds success. Whether they win or lose, when they attend a game, it comes down to how Ducks fans feel. And right now, most of us within the Ducks fan base, including myself, are wondering about this player who, are wondering about a certain player who many of us have an eye on. Connor Bedard. Talented, a generational player, destined and coined to be named number 1 in this year's NHL draft. I know what most of you are going to say. You're all embracing the tanking. You're embracing the tanking. But personally, to me, I am very skeptical. Now, don't get me wrong. I think he is a great, talented young man. The skill set, the talent, the speed, the offensive strengths that he has in scoring goals and setting up plays. It's the NHL draft lottery that I have an issue with. Not going to lie to most of you guys. I'm a skeptic with the NHL draft lottery. As much of most of us are looking at this team losing the rest of the games, which is unofficially physically impossible to do, because it would be a absolute nightmare for the Ducks to do that. It's very skeptical for the Ducks, and yes, I know I'm going to ruffle a few feathers. I'm going to annoy a few people within the Ducks fan base to get Connor Bedard through this NHL draft lottery system. There's been many times when a team gets the number 1 pick, or when the Ducks were near top 4 or 6 in the NHL draft lottery. They at times pick no higher than 3 and no less than 6. It's from what I look at, but also from what I see is, say if the Ducks do not get Connor Bedard or do not have a chance to get him, they should be prepared to look at a plan B if the Ducks don't get the number 1 pick in the NHL draft lottery. I know what most of you feel. I know what most of you disagree on, but that is how I see it going. Whether the Ducks get Connor Bedard remains to be seen, but from here on till season's end, it's going to come down to how the Ducks are going to finish strong, how this roster is going to look by the end of April. One thing is very clear to many of us, including myself, is that this first half of the NHL season our Ducks have been in has got to be one of the worst that we have seen so far. The worst first half. We know the Ducks have been slow starters in the past, but not how they are at right now. This is the worst I've seen. So it is what it is. And the only ones that could change our team going forward is the Anaheim Ducks themselves, the players themselves within the rank and file, whether it be the forwards, the defense, the goaltending. What it all will come down to is what Ducks GM Pat Verbeek is going to do. He knows this. I know this. Ducks fans, the players, and everyone in the Anaheim Ducks know that the road ahead is going to be, as I say, very turbulent. So the next few games is going to be against a mix of Eastern Conference teams and some Western Conference teams. but it's also part of the Ducks' 10-game homestand. I'm hopeful. Yes, I'm hopeful that our team, the Ducks, can turn things around and start the new year with a triumph over Philly. You know I'm not jinxing it. What I am hoping for in 2023 for our Anaheim Ducks, marking 30 years of Ducks hockey within a few months, that the Ducks can turn it around. I'm hoping and I expect some players who will remain nameless start to be more consistent in the offensive area. But we're going to have to wait and see. Anyways, I want to address a few things in regards to my channel. If you can just hold on just a minute. I need to do something here. Sorry about that. Just got to move some things along. In regards to this channel, Moose Duck Vlogs, I'm just going to say right now to all of you who are watching this channel what Moose Duck Vlogs is going to be like for this year. 95 to 98% of the content you'll see here, I will be addressing and discussing the Anaheim Ducks, Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks history, focusing on alumni spotlight profiles on past Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks players who have contributed to the Ducks cause. Basically, I'm giving you my uncensored thoughts and opinions on this team going forward. Other topics I'm going to talk about is United Earth. Now, if you want to know about United Earth is I'm giving you a Canadian perspective on the United States, Finland, South Korea, and Canada. A Canadian perspective. Yes, I'm Canadian. Also, I'll be focusing on some humorous things. Ducks in human history. I want to make you guys laugh, make you guys feel about one of the most interesting birds in our world, the common duck. That is what I want you to know about this channel. So I'm going to end this stream. Hope you guys, wherever you are, do well. And again, Happy New Year to everyone. Go Ducks.